Hi friends, how are you all? Today we will start our Hornbills lesson number 6, the Browning version. First of all, we will discuss about a writer. The author of this story is Sir Terence Melvin. He was born 10 June 1911 and he was died 13 November 1977. He was CBE. He was a British dramatist. He was one of England's most popular mid 20th century dramatists. His plays are typically set in upper middle class background. He wrote The Winslow Boy, the Browning version, The Deep Blue Sea, and Separate Tables, among many others. This is an expert from the Browning version. The scene is set in a school. Frank is a young and Crocker Harris, middle age. Both are teachers. Mr. Frank and Crocker Harris both are teachers. Both are masters. Taplow is a boy of 16 years old. Taplow is a student. Taplow is a boy 16 who has come in to do extra work for Crocker Harris, but the letter has not yet arrived and Frank finds Taplow waiting. Today I will explain you line by line, but I will not read all lines. Directly I will explain what are the discussion between Frank and Taplow. In our story, Mr. Crocker is not present, but indirectly they are discussing. And one other character is in this story, especially four characters are there. Mr. Frank is a teacher. Second, Crocker Harris is also teacher. Taplow is a student. He is 16 years old, and one other character, Crocker Harris' wife Millie. Okay. The scene is set in a school. Frank is young and Crocker Harris middle aged. Both are masters, both are teachers. Taplow is a boy of 16 who has come to do extra work for Crocker Harris, but the latter has not yet arrived and Frank finds Taplow waiting. Here you see four characters are there. Crocker Harris, Frank, Taplow and Millie. Okay. This is an excerpt from the Browning version. The scene is set in school. Frank is a young and Crocker Harris middle age. Both are masters teachers. Both are Tipler is a boy of 16 who has come in to do extra work for Crocker Harris, but the latter has not yet arrived and Frank finds Tipler waiting. Now let's see they are discussing. Frank asked Tipler if you if he knew his name because Frank is new and he did not know his name. Taplow respectfully replied that he didn't. Frank asked what his name was and Taplow told his name because I am a Taplow. Again, Frank asked him, Frank said that he didn't know Taplow but asked him if he was not a scientist. Taplow replied that he was not a scientist, he was still in the lower fifth and he could not specialist until next term, that was to say if he had got his remove all right. Frank asked him if he didn't know whether he had got his remove. Remove means promote. Taplow replied in the negative and said that Mr. Crocker Harris didn't tell them the result like the other masters. Frank asked why he didn't. Taplow, as a matter of fact, respectfully said that he knew what Crocker Harris was like. Again, Frank said that he believed that there was a rule. Frank said, don't you know if you have got your remove means promote. Frank said that he believed that there was a rule that from results should one only be announced by the headmaster, Miss Principal, on the last day of the term. Taplow agreed but asked who has paid attention to it except Mr. Crocker Harris. Okay. Frank again asked why not. Frank said why not. Frank said that he didn't he admit but that was not correct. So he asked Taplow if he would have to wait until the next day to know his fate. Taplow replied in the affirmative and Frank stated That supposing the answer was favorable, what he would do then. I am explaining four lines. Okay, Frank Teplo. Okay, next is Teplo says yes, but who else pay attention to it except Mr. Crocker Harris? His Teplo replied that he would choose science obviously. Frank sadly agreed that they got all the slackers. Teplo protestly but respectfully said that he was extremely intense in science. Frank says, I admit, but that's no question, so you have got to wait until tomorrow to your fate, have you? Teplo says, yes, sir. Okay. Here, Frank asked Teplo if he was interested in confess he was not least in the science he had to teach. Teplo respectfully stated that he was a good deal more exciting than that mock, and he indicated his book. Here, mock means does not important books. Frank asked him, what is muck? Muck means what? What is your meaning? Muck means, Frank asked Tepler what that muck was. Tepler respectfully, Tepler SLE sir, the gentleman, respectfully replied that it was a SHLS, the Agamemnon. Frank asked if his considered view was that the Agamemnon was muck. Teplo says, well, no, sir, I don't think the play is smug exactly. Here, Teplo confusion and haltingly replied that is negative and said that he didn't think he play the argument was smug exactly. He supposed that in a way it was really a rather good plot, a wife murdering her husband and all that. He only made the way it was taught to them just a lot of Greek words strung together and 50 lines if they get them wrong. Frank say you sound a little bitter, Teplo means you are speaking so harsh words. Teplo says I am rather sus. Frank captain. Teplo no sir, extra work. Frank extra work on the last day of school. You are hearing why are you waiting here? Because this is the last day of school. So Teplo say yes sir. So Teplo respectfully agreed and said that he might be playing golf, for one would think that Mr. Crocker Harris would have enough to do anyway himself, considering that he was leaving the next day for good, but he wouldn't. Teplo had missed a day the previous week when he had been ill, so there he was and respectfully told Mr. Frank to look at the weather. Frank said that it was bad luck, still there was no comfort. He was pretty well certain to get its removed the next day for being good boy, talking to extra work. Here Teplo felt Teplo felt Teplo told Mr. Crocker Harris to come for extra works at 6:30 before the professor came. Teplo was using a walking stick and trying some golf moves. Then he met a science teacher. His name is Mr. Frank. When about 10 minutes he had passed and there was no sign, the professor, Mr. Frank, told him to cut. Cut means leave. Please run away. Please leave. And go for a game of golf before close down. He also told him that it was the last day for the professor, so there would be no trouble. Teplo was shocked and said that he wouldn't think such a thing could be ever done. He was afraid that Mr. Crocker Harris might probably follow him home or do something which he would later regret. So, dear students, uh, other point or next remaining unit we will see in our next chapter. Okay, if you have any confusion or doubt, please message me. Okay, thank you.